To think about sustainability and the environment is a way of being for many today. And so we are really excited to bring to you our first series, I Do Care, where we are speaking to like-minded founders and brands and understanding their stories in creating sustainable products and encouraging conscious buying. We hope you really enjoy this as much as we enjoyed listening to their stories. Sahar Mansoor is the CEO and founder of Bare Necessities, a zero-waste enterprise. She really doesn't need an introduction, but for the very few of you who don't know her, Sahar is a powerhouse. She's an alumni of Cambridge and INSEAD. She's worked with World Health Organization on energy projects. She's a TEDx speaker and author, and she's recently even been awarded the Cartier Young Leader Award 2022. She's a person who really believes, and her ethos is totally ingrained in sustainability and zero waste. It's only a pleasure for us to have her today, and her journey is truly inspirational.
Hi everyone, I'm Sahar. I'm the founder of Bare Necessities. I also live a low-waste lifestyle. I've been an environmentalist for a really long time, but maybe a self-identified environmentalist since I was 18, 19. And I really care in living in alignment with my sustainable values.
So Sahar, I was really curious to know, when we think of the environment and we think of sustainability, a whole lot of aspects come into mind for sure. How did luxury and how did jewelry, did you think that sustainability is something that you could look for in luxury and jewelry?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think, to be honest, I only started to think about this in my late 20s and my early 30s because of, life events. I recently got married. And to me, I was thinking about, what could be meaningful and symbolic of this occasion. And that's when I started to think about, what kind of jewelry I might want associated with this kind of life event. And although I kind of told my mom that, I'm good, I don't kind of want to go the very traditional route. She did also kind of give me some of her gold that was, given to her during her wedding. And I said, this is really beautiful, but it's really not in alignment with my aesthetic or my values. So she really wanted to give all three of us something, because she had given my older two sisters something small and meaningful part of this kind of life occasion. So she kind of repurposed it and made it something that was more, contemporary and something that is more wearable for me. Because the other one kind of looked a little too Mughal and a little too weapons of mass destruction or something. So I think that was one aspect. But even when me and my partner were discussing about, what an engagement ring should look like, and I think the jewelry industry, the diamond industry has done a very good job of marketing a certain rhetoric to all of us. And we were very, very clear that we did not want any blood diamonds or mined diamonds, and we wanted to do something that was more in alignment with our values. So we did pick a lab-grown diamond because it is more sustainable, and it also does not have any kind of social justice issues associated with traditional mined diamonds. And I think it was really important for us to think about what was meaningful and precious to us, and that's kind of how this came about.
With lab-grown diamond and, wearing the beautiful ring that you're wearing, when you were with family and friends and when people asked you about the jewelry that you were wearing, were you conscious at all at any point in time to mention to them that what you had on your finger was a lab-grown diamond?
Not at all, actually. In fact, when I announced, on social media that I got engaged, I also had the last line that in alignment with our values, we went for a lab-grown diamond. And I can't tell you how many conversations this opened up. I had so many DMs of friends, juniors, people who are considering on that stage or in cusp of life where they're considering and kind of exploring what are the options out there, and why I picked a lab-grown diamond, and how can I go about this, and XYZ. Even a couple of journalists reached out, etc. And I think it just really opened up the conversation around it. And I think the more that we kind of live our values and kind of have, just more authentically without kind of any thinking about what the social conceptions are, the more we will lead the path to living more authentically. And I think that's what's really important. And I'm just so happy that I went with this because, to be honest, it does not have any iota of guilt associated with it, and whether that's environmental or social. And I think that's what's really important to me.
So when it comes to diamonds and our engagement rings or any form of jewelry, there's always a question in terms of resale, right? Very, very popular as part of conversation. So what are your thoughts when it comes to resale, let's say of gold and diamonds?
Honestly, an engagement ring is something that I don't want to also sell again. I want to keep this. I want this to be a keepsake. I want this probably to be a family heirloom, if at all. It needs to kind of go down to future generations, etc. So I did not look at it as an investment per se, or something that I want to perhaps down the line get a resale value out of. So the purpose in which I was looking at this was also different. In terms of jewelry also, I rather own few small meaningful pieces that have kind of this family history or this personalized element, rather than a lot of them that I might not wear a lot or I don't really resonate with, etc. So I think those were kind of important values for me when we were kind of thinking about how jewelry can be incorporated into our lives now and even in future generations. So I think when we do look at engagement rings especially, or things associated with your big day, I think the perspective of meaningful, keeping it, maybe some form of family heirlooms or some form of tradition is more meaningful than kind of thinking about a resale value.
So I'm really interested to know, because obviously I've the brand has been there for about 8 years now, and we've gone through the journey. In fact, lab-grown diamond is something that we, consciously made an attempt to, cater to. So I want to understand from your point of view, what does luxury in jewelry mean to you? Would you like to? I mean, you did mention that you're not somebody who would like many pieces of jewelry, but if it is jewelry that you would want to consider, then what would really be your choices there? Would it be more gold, more diamonds, and what is it that would make you happy when it comes to jewelry?
I think that's a great question. I think luxury when it comes to jewelry is something that is really versatile, really wearable. I just wore the same pair of earrings 2 days ago for my cousin's wedding, and I'm re-wearing it again for a chill little conversation with a cotton dress. So I think that's something that is more meaningful to me. And I think also, I prefer smaller pieces as well. I do prefer lab-grown diamonds. It could be a small solitaire. It could be, whether in the form of earrings, a pendant, or a ring, etc. And I find that just super wearable. And I think another aspect of sustainability is how many wears you get out of a garment, jewelry, whatever it might be, right? So I think that is more valuable rather than something that you might purchase or might sit in the cupboard for a really long time, and it's super, rare or occasion based that you might kind of take it out to actually enjoy it or wear it. So I think wearability is something that is huge for me from a sustainability point of view, from the way I live kind of point of view as well. So yeah, those are just my little 2 cents on that.
So specific to the jewelry industry, a certain trend that we have seen in the recent years is the consumers are very different today. Your clientele is very different. A couple of years back, you weren't really informed about what you're really picking up when it came to jewelry. You didn't know the source of it. You weren't interested to find out more. You would probably walk into a retail store and ask the retail owner, what are the latest designs. But today, I think that has changed a lot, right? Like clients pretty much know what the trends are. They want a essence of personalization in their jewelry. They want their piece to be done, with, basically co-creating pieces of jewelry. And a lot of research in terms of what is the source of the metal, what is the source of the diamond. So, I'm interested to know, when you decided to go in for lab-grown diamond, what was the kind of research that you did on your own?
Yeah, so when we decided to kind of go with lab-grown diamond, we obviously did a lot of research. We looked into kind of who are the kind of players in the Indian market. But also, first from an environmental point of view, we looked at what that means on a carbon footprint perspective. And of course, like I mentioned, also the social justice issues associated with both. And we obviously thought that the lab-grown diamond was performing really well on several indexes, because first of all, it is, the chemical composition is exactly the same, except one is made in a laboratory and one is, of course, mined and comes from this legacy of mining, right? And what we found was that the lab-grown diamonds also come with a certification, which is kind of attested by a third party as well, and which is quite different from also the American diamond category. So post the research, then I think it was, of course, designing something that works well for you. And I think, if you look at sustainability, whether that is clothes, we used to always go to our local tailor and co-create with them, right? And if you want a birthday cake, you would go down to your local bakery and kind of co-create with them. There'd be drawings, or you would kind of customize. I think if you know your creator and you know the person that runs your business, automatically then also your carbon footprint is lower. And I think local economy and sustainability means kind of going back to those roots, and it's more kind of democratic, it is more localized rather than kind of more global in its perspective and nature. So those are other things that we considered as well when we went through the process of co-creating. And yeah, I think those are all kind of things that happened. I do want to mention though that a lab-grown diamond does have an energy footprint associated with it. However, on both of the metrics, it still kind of comes out with a lower footprint. And I think there's also so much amazing research going on in the renewable energy space and the storage space that it's only going to get even more efficient as we go forward.
Since sustainability is really, the core of your business, right? And that's what really drew me to even having those conversations with you, right? So what would be your advice, to women, to men, just generally anybody who's considering sustainability when it comes to jewelry?
I think things like jewelry, we often get kind of swept up with the marketing rhetoric of things or the social construct of things. And we often kind of just go with this crowd mentality. But I do think, take a minute to pause, take a minute to have these conversations with your partner, with your parents, much like more contemporary weddings nowadays, where we might not just kind of go with the flow and try and say, hey, I want to do something that is more in alignment with my values. I think very similar, have these conversations around jewelry and do whatever is most authentic to who you are, to yourself, what you think you're really going to wear, and what to you will have kind of a lower carbon footprint, lower guilt footprint, and kind of just more in alignment with your values. I just love that no one has been gone through kind of any forms of social justice abuse while kind of creating this ring that I'm wearing. And I love that it has a lower carbon footprint as well. So I think that is very, very important to my personal ethos. And I think I just challenge everyone to have conversations to really see what your values are and what do you want to wear that really signifies and expresses those values.
So it was really interesting when I met Sahar for the first time, and she was very proud when she told me that for her engagement, she actually got a lab-grown diamond made. An engagement ring with a lab-grown diamond, and I was very impressed. Not just the fact that she considered lab-grown diamond as a choice, but the pride that she took to say that she was actually wearing that. So I'm interested to know, Sahar. We've always known as diamonds as rare, precious, and something that lasts forever, which is typically associated with mined diamonds. And some of those things, as you would hear conversations of late, people are not associating with lab-grown diamonds. So what's your take on that in terms of a diamond being rare, precious, lasting forever?
I think for so long we've grown up with so many rhetorics that have been kind of told to us or dictated, and so many social norms that we just kind of confined to without really thinking about what we genuinely think about it. And I think this was again another life event that made me think about really what are my values and how I want to kind of incorporate it. I think what is something that's precious? Something is precious to you if you hold it dearly and if it is symbolic or meaningful to you. And I don't think a certain price tag or a certain real diamond that is mined that has this huge legacy of social justice, environmental justice associated with it is really very precious to me, and it's definitely not in alignment with my values. And the other thing is, if everyone is wearing mined diamonds, so to speak, is it really that rare? I think, in fact, I think lab-grown diamonds are more rare now. And I think it's getting more and more popular. And I think if you look at this kind of younger demographic, you're also seeing that more and more millennials, whatever Zs you want to call them, whatever generation category you want to bucket them in, is that people just want to align in, want to kind of consume in alignment with their values and no more want to kind of just go with the predictated notions of what they should and should not do. Honestly, I think it was even more meaningful, even more precious to me because it considered the person I am and how I want to live and how I live in different aspects of my life, whether that is driving an EV, dressing only in sustainable ethical fashion, trying to kind of compost segregate all of my waste, etc. This is just more in alignment with who I am, and it doesn't contradict any of my values. And I think that was what's most important to me.
So thank you, Sahar. It was lovely to have you as part of this conversation. And I think every time talk to you, when I talk to you personally, I think it's very, very inspiring, your journey with respect to sustainability. And I'm so glad that, you could share your 2 cents when it came to jewelry and how you associate sustainability with jewelry. And I really hope, like the title of these series is that I Do Care series. I mean, you are an example in, every form to actually say that you really care about the environment. And I hope that this conversation, is a starter for more conversations for everybody to say, I do care. And I really hope when it comes to jewelry, we all, at some point, and maybe from now on, are more conscious in terms of the choices that we make. We do a little more research on what we want to buy and really make those informed decisions.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your super generous words. This was a blast.